Hey y'all, before we get started with the video, I'm just here to inform you that yes, I'm aware my mic is really bad. I still tried to give some live commentary and tips of what was going through my mind as to why I did something, but I was kind of locked in, so I was kind of silenced a lot of the time. So I'm just going to do a couple voiceovers throughout the video of different tips that I forgot to mention during the video with this mic, so you'll know which one is the voiceover.
What's up, people? It's Aries Mage, favorite DTI sweat. I'm actually gonna teach you guys today how to layer, and I get questions like that a lot. I'm just gonna do one outfit because layering takes a long time. And I already know how to layer pretty much. I feel like it's mostly memorization, because I get a lot of comments on TikTok that all of my outfits look the same. And I'm like, it's like, okay, yeah, we all have the same items, so I don't get it, I guess. Anyways, so I'm gonna teach you guys how to layer. Let's do light colors so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright, we are back. I think I figured out my color palette. So we're just gonna start with that. It's gonna be like this. It looks kind of random, but trust me, we can make it work.
If you're new to layering, don't let this video intimidate you. You should probably only start with 2 to 3 patterns and colors. I'm just very comfortable in how I use patterns, so I'm able to use a lot more. It's a lot easier to pick patterns that match when you're only having to pick less than 3, and it won't make your fit look any worse if you do decide to only use that many. Oftentimes when I come up with palettes, I only use about half of the patterns or less. I just like to allow myself to have more freedom in the patterns that I choose to use.
Layering kind of depends a lot on like what outfit you're going for. So this one, obviously, since I'm layering a lot, it's not quite the same as like a human person. The items you use are a lot different. At least for me, I don't really use a lot of the items that I use in my non-human fits that I use in my human fits. So, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this. Don't you worry. Yeah, I forgot to say my color palette. Well, it's kind of obvious. It's like teal and browns. Right, so we did some off-camera mining. This is what I've come up with. We've got a beggar. She won't stop asking me for makeup. And now she just won't leave me alone. So I don't know what to do about that. Anyways, layering hairs. This is an important one. Layering hairs is just as important as layering, because just imagine if you put one hair on. Yeah, it's okay. But you probably need a little more than that, correct? For layering hairs, one thing is before there was any other animated hairs, this one was like my go-to. You can literally add this to like any set of hairs, right? And it kind of eats with everything. So another thing is a lot of the hairs have, toggles or whatever. So layering these bangs together is very good. I really like these circle ones. I'm probably going to use them for this look. Can add a lot of different hairs. I can't really like give you tips with this one. I don't really know how to give you tips. If you're doing curly hairs, try to do curly hairs. If you're doing non-curly hairs, try to do non-curly hairs. Obviously, I'm kind of mixing just because this one kind of curls, but I feel like this hair, I'll tell you guys my favorite hairs. So this one, oh, okay. Pretty fond of this one's bangs. This one's okay as well. This one layers really well with the other animated hair, not the Madoka one. This one's okay too. I layer these 4 bangs all the time. And most of the hairs that I'm telling you about layer with each other. So that's why I use them the most, obviously. This one is also a favorite. It's kind of nice to add some differentiation here with the curls. So maybe I lied. Maybe you can use curls and straight hairs. I just feel like this wavy hair really goes with like literally anything. I really like the braided hairs as well. So I add a lot of these ones to my looks. I kind of want to keep her forehead area open just for this. And also, it's easier to see the eyelashes that way. I really like these braids, although they kind of sit weird. These ones are really good for layering. It works really good for layering with wolf cut, in my opinion. I'm not going to show it because I'm lazy, but yeah, you get the idea. I really like these ones. This one might work for the look we're going for, but I might just have to I still haven't decided what I'm even doing. I really like the beads on these ones. This one is interesting because you can put patterns on it. So if any of you didn't know that, I really like these braids that aren't loading in. There they go. This one works really well as well for layering. If you didn't know, this one actually has a toggle that takes off the hair, so you can just have this barrette, or it's not a barrette, a hairband. Yeah, a lot of the hairs aren't loading in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go to bangs. Oh, the The masculine hairs are also my favorite. This is one of my favorite hairs. This one is also my favorite, and if you didn't know, it has two toggles. Everyone always asks me, oh, that hair actually has toggles, and I'm like, yep, sure does. And then for the bangs, I really like these ones. All of these edges are pretty cute. You can use them if you do have a lot of forehead showing and you don't want bangs. This is one of my favorites, but it kind of covers up that circle, so I'm gonna leave it out, even though it looks really cool. Okay, so another tip in terms of hair layering. I like it to not be too messy. My shaders kind of like point out the head. I like to make sure that it's clean layered because if it looks a mess, that's just not good. Clean layering is the only hair type I will do.
Most of the hairs that I had pointed out are the most versatile. All of them layer really nicely together. Feel free to use whatever hairs that I pointed out. For most of your outfits, they'll layer well together. Just remember, try not to go over 6 hairs because that's taking up too many inventory slots for the rest of your outfit.
I think it's looking really pretty. So when it comes to layering, basically just making an outfit, all I can say for layering is definitely do your layering in free play, and once you kind of get stuff like memorized, like, oh, this item looks good with this item looks good with this item, or these 3 items all go together, you can start applying that knowledge when you're in a regular server. You start in free play. That's how I started improving, etc., and you work your way to just knowing how to layer. I am going to be putting my hair accessories first. I don't know how to tell you guys how to layer hair accessories because most of them look good together. This flower is one of my favorites. As you can see, this is pretty simple. We have 4 items here. Now it's time for the tough stuff. The tough stuff is the regular layering. All I can say is that it's a lot of running around the map, going back and forth, trying to decide what layers on top of each other nicely. I can tell you a couple items that I personally layer a lot, but I feel like it's up to preference because I use mostly the same items. This layers nicely with most items. It layers pretty nicely, so you can imagine it will layer over most items, right? Layers, layers. So you can pretty much guarantee that this one will layer through most things. Once again, it really depends on what aesthetic you are going for. So yeah, I do kind of use the same items in every single outfit. See any of my other videos, you see these items a lot. Supernova set, really good. Layers with pretty much everything. The New Year's dress, I know it just came out, but I really like it, and it layers really good with a lot of different items. This corset layers a lot too as well. A lot of this stuff sticks out. If you have the Moon Gazer, that is also one of my favorite items.
I didn't mention it, but these are the items that I find the most versatile in terms of layering, so you see me using them often in my outfits. They also have a lot of detail, which I believe if you're wanting to layer, you're wanting to create as detailed a fit as possible, which is done by using as many textures or patterns you can to create variety. These are also the items that layer best with each other because there are some items that just don't work with layering just because the way they layer on top of each other, it sticks out in awkward ways.
This is one of my favorite items to layer as well.
Always remember to keep balance when making your outfits. Things I notice even with extremely talented players are that certain parts of their outfit lack detail, while the rest is extremely detailed and it lacks balance. Example, when somebody only uses like one shoe or one headpiece or just no headpieces. Obviously this doesn't apply to every outfit because some outfits can look good without this balance, but if you keep wondering what's wrong with my outfit, be sure to keep this idea in mind when you're trying to fix whatever seems off. I feel like my outfits turned out a lot better when I started applying this knowledge to them because before I would literally only wear like one shoe and I would always be like, why does my outfit look so weird? And then I would start wearing multiple shoes when the rest of my outfit is just as detailed, and it really just helped add balance.
And I think that is everything that I want to use today. So it's a little cleaner than usual, in my opinion.
Another thing about balance is finding balance in your items because sometimes you'll have a lot on the bottom and not a lot on the top, and that can throw it off. Obviously, sometimes if you're trying to create a certain shape, such as like I think triangular works, or if you're doing an hourglass shape, which I have a couple outfits that are like that, finding that balance in terms of where it's placed, because sometimes you'll have a lot of stuff that goes to the right side of the outfit or the left side of the outfit and things are just uneven, and if you have too much on one side and not enough on the other, or too much on top and not enough on bottom, then sometimes it can throw off the balance.
Oh my god. Okay, let's layer.
If you're a beginner who's never worn more than 2 items on top of each other, then I'm so sorry because I'm probably throwing you into the thick of it with this video. I always push myself when creating outfits, so I didn't want to be too simple because I know a lot of people who are already acquainted with layering might be watching this as well and wanting to know how to become someone as talented as me with layering.
Girl snuck into VIP to beg for VIP.
I still give a lot of tips that can help even new players, even if my outfit looks like it's way above the average player. When you're picking your patterns, if you don't really know how to do that because you're new, try to use patterns of similar color or just do a single color with black or white because they always go together. They fit with pretty much any theme. Some of my outfits still just use black and white because I just love that color palette. If you're interested in making outfits like mine that have interesting color usage with colors that you wouldn't expect, you should look into color theory. It's really interesting and helps a lot in terms of improvement. I feel like my outfits that use color theory look a lot cooler than most other fits that I've created. Obviously, you don't need to have a billion patterns, but think if you just use the same pattern everywhere, it starts to look like a mess because they overlap each other and it just adds a lot of messiness. However, if you use different patterns, it can give the outfit more dimension as well as a lot more detail. Find balance not only in items, but also with the patterns. If you're using multiple, try to even them out unless one pattern is just meant to be an accent so you're not using it as much.
When it comes to recoloring the items with layering, once again, I suggest sticking to a palette. Don't use, too many. Obviously, my palette looks insane right now. Just color one item at a time. And the reason I put all of my items on it first is because it gives me a rough idea of the shape I'm wanting to go for. And then once I'm done recoloring, I can actually see the finished result colored to see if I need to change anything. So as you can tell, I did a little bit of mining off camera and we come back with this, so I'm gonna kind of explain what I do to make it look so detailed. Obviously it's almost finished. However, so as you can see, a lot of the patterns I use have tons of detail, and that's how you get the super detailed outfits, by using these patterns specifically or ones like this. There's a lot of patterns that have tons of detail, and when using those patterns it just adds a lot more detail than if you were to use, let's just say, a pattern like this or one of these patterns that I feel like don't have as much detail. Obviously if that's what you're into, because everyone has different style, then go ahead and do that. But for me, a lot of these patterns that I have saved right now, they have a lot of detail in them, and that's why I like to use them often. You see me use these patterns a lot in my outfits because I just love the detail of them. So this is the fully recolored outfit. Now obviously when you are going through this for the last time, seeing what items do or don't add to the outfit, because oftentimes when you're layering, an item gets covered up. It's okay. Anyways, or something just looks awkward in the finished result. Guys, I don't know what's going on. Caused a commotion and now everyone's touching me.
Anyways, that is the finished result. I tried to explain it as best as I could. Hopefully it was easy to understand in some ways, or some of my tips were at least helpful, and it's something that you can keep in mind next time you're trying to make an outfit. And good luck. Subscribe for more, as always. Bye.